Back here, this is Wilder Street. This is where I grew up. Oh my God, it seems so small. It's a small street, but when you're small, it seems bigger. Oh my God, we played so many games, so many street games up here. Punch ball, half ball, tag, jailbreak. I lived at 1216. My grandfather lived at 1213. My Aunt Louise lived, let's see, I forgot what that address is, 1202. And my Aunt Susan lived over here. My whole family was here. There was something in this neighborhood that scared the living crap out of me every day of my life during that time. And that's this building behind me. This building here was a beacon of terror for me when I was a kid. It was called Annunciation BVM. It was a Catholic grade school. And I came here for 8 years. Some of it was good. Most of it was bad. Where do I start? I would say maybe about the 4th or 5th grade, I started realizing that I had a hard time retaining information, especially numbers. So I was terrible at math. I was good with other things, not too good, but it was basically, I had a hard time with numbers, color coordinations, any kind of putting things in order, anything like that, anything that I had to retain right off the cuff. I had a really big problem with that. So it was really hard for me to learn in grade school. I still have issues today, same kind of things. You know, I write it down, I'm better at it today, but for the most part, I have the same problems today that I did when I was in grade school. Now look, I don't want you to think that the whole school was terrible. It wasn't. I did have some good times there, but most of it was bad. And most of the teachers that I've had, most of them were really good teachers and an example of what a teacher should be. Others, not so much. You know, back in the day, this used to be, right here, used to be a building called the Roundhouse. And it was a lot of different things. I remember in my day, they would lift weights in there. It was just a big round building. It was kind of cool looking, actually, but they tore it down. And since the neighborhood's changed so much, they also turned this, this used to be the bocce court for the old Italian men to play bocce. And now it is a doggy poop park. So I'm not going to name names. Let's just call her Bitch Face. This woman was my teacher one year, and she was terrifying. You know, you got to think, now I'm a little kid. This teacher would do nothing but scream all day long. Even when you weren't in her class, you would hear her sitting in your other class. She just screamed at everything. And I don't mean just a little bit. I mean a lot. I mean like a maniac. So one day, she calls me up to the front of the class to do a math problem on the board. And that's what they used to do. They used to do like problems on the board, and they'd call people up and then you would go do them. So, you know, already I crapped my pants because I didn't know what the hell was on the board. You gotta understand, I didn't comprehend anything. I couldn't absorb anything. So I got up there and I didn't know what to do. This woman starts screaming at me at the top of her lungs because I didn't know how to do the problem and that I was getting the answers wrong. And she left me up there and left me up there for, I don't know, what seemed to be an eternity. And I'm just standing there with my back against the class, and she's screaming at me that she can't believe I can't figure this out. When am I going to wake up? When am I going to learn? Screaming at me at the top of her lungs. Now I knew that if I turned around, the whole class was looking at me. So I was completely humiliated. She made me feel stupid. she made me feel angry and petrified. I remember just feeling like my blood left my body because she was that terrifying to me. So I ask you this: how do you learn when you feel like that? So that was just the beginning of it. This would happen to me, I don't know, several times a week. This woman would just scream, call me up to the front of the class, humiliate me, didn't teach me anything, didn't show me anything. And if she did, I just wasn't getting it. I just wasn't getting it. And I don't think a kid that small should be yelled at and terrorized because he didn't know the answer, that he just wasn't getting it. You know, a real teacher, like some of them, would take their time, do their best, which they did. There's a lot of teachers that I had that did their time, did their best to do the best they can with me. And sometimes I got it, sometimes I didn't. So here's my best friend's place. To both of them, it's Carla and Louie and Maria and everybody lived there. Anthony and Jerry lived there. And this was my corner, 12th and Dickinson. There used to be mailboxes right there. We used to sit on top of them. Fernolino's, nice private pharmacy. But the big place was right here. This place was called Joe Bates. Best water ice in the city. Great guy, great family. And he would sell like groceries and everything in there. Now it's a spa. I remember every morning after that first initial screaming, just feeling sick in my stomach, physically sick in my stomach every morning. I would kick and cry and scream to my mother to let me stay home. And I never told her what happened and why I was feeling this way, because there's another kid in the class, I guess was having the same kind of problem with her. Went home, told his mother, and his mother sent a note in with the kid to give to this bitch. And he got it even worse from her because he said something to his mother. So I was terrified. Let's not forget them calling out your grades after you take a test publicly to the class. Yeah. So it would be like, hey, Mark, whatever, you got a 90. Dawn, whatever, you got a 92. Nicholas Lanciano, 7. Yeah, that's the kind of numbers I used to get with math. 7, 5, 6, 0 would sound much better to me. I mean, it sounds like get a 0, it's like, all right, well, you might as well. 0 always sounded better. But no, they're the scores I used. I'm more humiliated, you know, that they read my scores, my grades out to everybody else. I never got it. I never understood why that had to happen. Like that's some kind of therapy. On top of that, you had your basic Catholic school back in the day rules. You know, single file line, put your head down, fold your hands, don't talk. I would go home for lunch and then have to come back. And I don't know to this day how I feel about that. But I knew I wanted the break. I wanted to leave the building, to go home, to be with my mother, eat my lunch, watch Happy Days. That's what I used to do. But then when I was home, I didn't want to come back here. I didn't want to come back to school, to this building, to this terror. I didn't want to do that. So it was like starting the morning all over again when I had to go back. Then soon I started acting out. You know, when I got home, and I don't mean to my family, but to my friends, I became like a bully. You know, and I despise bullies. I despise them. So I hate this part about me. But I did do it. I would just hit one of my best friends, and I loved the guy. I loved the kid. You know, it wasn't that I hated anybody. It was just when I hit him, it was like a feeling of I have power now. You know, I'm in charge for once. I have nothing to be scared of, type of deal. And he took the brunt of it, and I hate that I did this. I hate it. I hate it about myself. I know I was a little boy, but I still hate it because I'm not a bully. I'm anything but a bully. So after I left that one year, when bitch face was my teacher, you know, the following year I came back, and it wasn't as bad, but I could never shake the feeling. And there were some teachers that year too that also screwed me, you know. I mean screwed me up, not screwed me. That'd be a whole different video. But, you know, they screwed me up, you know, screaming at me because I didn't know an answer. Keep you after school because you didn't know an answer. Hi, how you doing? Mark, this guy Mark behind me was playing music up the street when I used to live here, and I walked right by him, but as soon as I heard that, I was like, wait a minute. That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's really a treat to see you, Nick.
Good to see you, man. Take care. Wow. Yo, guys, I haven't seen that guy for years. He's still out here playing music. That's nice to see. It wasn't until high school, junior year, I believe, of high school, when I met a Norbertine priest by the name of Father Rodia. And Father Rodia was the wackiest priest you'd ever meet in your entire life. He made class so much fun, and he made everybody laugh. He kept it light, and you know, like just an example. In the middle of exams, he noticed that everybody was so tense that he jumped up on his desk with a broom and started singing Footloose. I mean, blaring it, man. He was singing. He was singing, boy. And it was hilarious. And that was the only time, the only year I got a perfect 100 on my report card. And I realized then that my problem was definitely caused by anxiety, at least a big portion of it. So why did I make this video? I don't know. Simply, I guess, if you have kids in school, understand that they're alone. And even though they may be in good hands, you never know what they're feeling that day. You never know what they're going through. So every once in a while, ask them how everything's going in school. Ask them if everything's okay. Anything they want to talk about. Make them know that you're there for them.